Welcome to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
Hi, everybody. I am spiritual medium Kellee White, and welcome to Ask Me Anything. How's everybody doing this week? Did you have a good week? Was it a rough week? I had a lot of people tell me that they had trouble sleeping the last 2 nights. I think I know why. At least astrologically, I can explain a lot of that. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Deanie. Hi, Kellee and Prajna from BC, Canada. Yeah, I've got Prajna's on tonight, which is going to be great. Hi, Belinda Whip. How are you? Oh, my gosh. Hi, Ruth. It's so sweet of you, Ruth. She says, hi, Kellee and Prajna. Thank you for doing the show. Always appreciate everything you both teach. Sending love from Toronto, Canada. Thank you. Hi, Kim Ann. Hi. Hi, Judy. Hi, Vincy. Hi, Dee Dee from Chicagoland. Yay. Yes, and we're going to talk about Prajna's in so much better health now. So we will absolutely be talking about that. Hi, Annette. Hi, Elizabeth Preston. How are you doing? Hi, Lee. Hi, Vicki Nason. Oh, my gosh. Hi, sweetheart. How are you? You're going to love the show tonight, Vicki. Hi, Ann Margaret. My gosh. Hi, everybody. Oh, Angel White, it's your birthday today. I'm not really doing readings right now. Tonight, we're going to ask a lot about healing. There's going to be a lot of healing questions. But because today is your birthday and today is January 19th, let's just look at that for a second. It's an 8 of Diamonds day and your birthday is falling with all the planetary changes. So I predict, Angel Light, a really good year for you. How's that? There you go. Oh, so Renee Martinez, you're having trouble sleeping? Yeah, let's explain that. Hi, Gloria Shear. How are you? Oh my gosh, I love you and your family. Oh my God. Oh, hi, Canchetta from Australia. I could just keep going on and on. But oh, hi, Christy Oucher. Oh my gosh. So let me go ahead and talk about astrology because we had an amazing 3 things happen in the last week. The first thing is that Mars went direct and it's been in retrograde for months. So it's an energy that is like full steam ahead when Mars goes direct. And then Mercury went direct yesterday. So that's a great thing. So go ahead, sign your contracts, start your new job, do that project. The energy starts to flow. And the other thing we had, which was really great, is that Saturn after 2.5 years went from Capricorn to Aquarius. So we're going to see new forms of healing for the next 2.5 years. We're going to see a lot of improvement in mental illness, in the fact that there'll be a lot of treatment for mental illness. We'll see a lot of things in technology. It's a better placement actually for Saturn. So I think the next 2.5 years will be interesting. They won't be as heavy as it has been when it has been in Capricorn for the last 2.5 years, which brought on COVID. So having said that, we also have some really interesting couple of things coming up right now. And the first thing is on January 21st, so that's Saturday, there's a new moon in Capricorn. And again, everybody, I'm talking Vedic astrology. It's what I practice. And new moon in Capricorn. So this is the first new moon of the year for us. And it's a really good time to contemplate what you've gone through in the past and then beginning something new. It's a great moon for that because it's in Capricorn. It brings a practicality to it. And it helps you to let go of the past suffering. It helps you to let go of that. So even if you let go of some of it, it opens up the energy for you to do other things. When you're holding on to the energy of suffering, it takes away from moving forward. And so this is going to be a special new moon. So go ahead and, celebrate this new moon and create some time for yourself to let go of the past or look at the past and then gently move forward. Because on January 22nd, on Sunday, it is the Chinese New Year of 2023, and it's the year of the water rabbit. And this is going to make things a lot more gentle. There's a kindness that comes with this year for humanity. And the last time it was a water rabbit was 1963. And 1963 also had some major situations at JFK. I mean, there was a lot of situations that went on in 63. But I think that this does something between the Saturn going into Aquarius, and because of the water rabbit, and for a lot of other reasons, I feel that there's going to be a major shift in politics with leaders changing. So I think we're going to see a lot of that. So those are a couple of things to look forward to this weekend: the new moon, and on Sunday the year of the rabbit. But today we have something really to look forward to, because I have the most wonderful healer around, and her name is Prajna Avalon, and I just love Prajna. I've worked with her many times. I've had her on the show many times. We teach together, and she's an incredible healer. So I'd like to welcome Prajna Avalon. Hi, honey. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. I'm so glad to be here again with you and with everybody. It always is just such a pleasure.
Oh my
It's
gosh!
so
Tell everybody
wonderful.
you're in Rio de Janeiro.
I'm in Rio. Yeah, it's 10 p.m. here now.
Gosh.
So let's get this
Let's
energy
get
really
this energy
going.
going here, for sure.
I'm
And
in
you went
Rio,
through
yes.
so much in the
Yeah,
last few months. You went through your own. You and I both went through a lot of surgeries,
yeah,
August, September, October, and you
yes.
had quite an ordeal.
Yeah, it was. It was a very unexpected thing. I mean, as many health issues are, but I went, for those that don't know, I went into the hospital to remove a plantar wart that was a bit deep because I'm a runner, and there was a big medical mistake, and they took a chunk out of the ball of the sole of my left foot. Um, they sent me home, and I got a necrosis, an infection, and I almost lost the foot. They said a few more days I would have either lost the foot or had sepsis, and that could have gotten really complicated.
Mm.
So I was in the hospital for 2.5 months, and I had 13 surgeries to try to recover this foot. And it was really challenging on many levels, but I'm definitely on the other end. I still am by no means fully done, but I'm walking. I'm wobbling a little bit because the lesion area still hurts a bit, and because my foot was immobilized for so long, for all those weeks, and then I was on
Yeah.
crutches for almost 2 months. So my foot was really not moving for almost 4 months. So the ankle still needs some range of motion, and it's it's vulnerable. So there's a way to go. But I'll tell you, Kelly, I'm literally every day, I am grateful several times throughout the day. Like, I go out the elevator in my building, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm walking. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm not on
Yeah.
crutches. Like, today I went to this healing center, and there are 2 sets of stairs, and I had to go up those sets of stairs with crutches. And today I just walked up and walked down.
That must have been an incredible feeling for you.
It was an incredible feeling. And it's interesting because I've seen with the healing work, I've always done a lot of medical healing. That's always been one of my main practices. And there's so much healing that comes to a person and to a soul through disease and through medical challenges. And I can see with myself, now I'm at a place, I don't know if I'll walk normally again. I don't know if I'll be able to run again normally the way I did. But there's more of an acceptance and a surrender that is naturally occurring. I allowed myself to go through all of the waves. I didn't force myself to go into surrender the first week that I was in the hospital. So I allowed myself to be worried, and then
I
okay,
remember.
Remember?
Oh, very well, because I was in the
Every
hospital
day.
worrying
And you
myself.
were
Actually,
exactly.
we'd call each other from the
So
hospital.
wild. That was so wild.
It's
So wild.
unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah. So
But you're back now, and you're working full time.
I'm back working full time, and I want to say to anybody that is listening here, if you've written to me in the past 4 or 5 months and I haven't written back, it's because I haven't written back to anybody. it was such an emergency. I didn't have time to let anybody know of anything. And I really needed to focus all of my energy and attention and everything onto what was happening with me. So I owe email responses to a lot of people, but I want to say this year I've been back fully working. So if you've emailed me and you haven't heard from me, feel free to email again. Or if you haven't written because you knew I wasn't well, I'm fully well and working. So, I'm so happy because I missed working so much.
Oh, I think that was really hard on you, not being able to work.
It was very, very hard. It's such a part of my life, and it's such a love of mine. It's so much who I am, and I miss it. I miss it terribly. So I'm so thrilled for this year to be beginning, and and I can engage back.
Good.
So that's it. So here's an
Good.
invitation to anybody that feels called. I am full of energy, so I am just so thrilled to be doing all of this again.
And don't you think, as a healer, when you have these things, you learn so much more about a lot of things, health and your own self, and what you're going through, how somebody else, you can help somebody else go through something, because you have just gone through a really deep. You went through something very deep.
Yeah, it was something very deep. I mean, I think not many people will spend 2.5 months in the hospital and have so many surgeries, and it's a very intense thing. But you learn a lot. I definitely learned so much more about myself on levels that I hadn't visited. I mean, I've had other physical issues throughout my life. I think even because of the healing work that I do, it's not new to me, but there's something, and there were some people that I was working with, very, very, very few people, and they would say, "Oh my God," and this and that, and yes, oh my God, yes, I was in the hospital, I was in a wheelchair, I was having massive surgeries, I had a machine attached to my foot. It was, oh my God. But at the same time, I remember I would tell them, I truly am trying to surrender and be with this. So, I do practice what I teach people, and that's important, and to strengthen yourself in that is important too. And I think going through this, as a healer, and I'm sure as a therapist, as a medium, as a psychic, it's the same. We can only give what we've gone through.
Yes, I agree.
And it's different when you give the knowledge, just the mental knowledge, or when you give the experiential knowledge,
of it.
Right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
and there's some wisdom that comes with that. And I think most
wisdom.
People here have to have an experience. I mean, we could tell them this, or we could tell them that.
Yeah.
It seems to be human nature that they have to have some experience, whether
Exactly.
they want to or not, that they understand then going forward.
It's true. And always trying to, sometimes we try to see the lesson in what we're going through, and that's okay. But even in my practice, I always tell people, we don't necessarily know the lesson. There's so many levels of lessons.
There's so many levels. Well, hold that thought, because with that thought, Anne Margaret asked a really good question, because we don't know what the soul's here to learn, right?
Exactly.
And her question is, and she says, can we talk about Alec Baldwin tonight? So I don't know if you know who Alec Baldwin is, the actor.
I know who he is.
And he was charged with manslaughter tonight. It's true. And he didn't put the bullet in the prop gun. So what just happened? She says, and David Crosby passed away today, famous singer David Crosby.
Didn't know that either.
So here's my thought, Anne Margaret, without Alec Baldwin. I think he's got a lot to learn. And I like Alec. I do, actually, and I feel it's a horrific situation. But it's interesting that he's playing it out on a world stage. So what will we all learn from this? What is his soul learning, and what are we all going to learn from this? It's fascinating, right?
Yes.
Because as an actor, he's really on the world stage here. So here we go.
Yes.
And as far as David Crosby goes, he said something so funny. I think it was on Twitter a couple of days ago, or maybe even yesterday. He said something like, I don't know what heaven's like, but it's pretty cloudy up there. I mean, I thought it was pretty funny, and then he died
That's
the next
funny.
day. So, I mean, who knows, Aunt Margaret? And I meant to say this too. The reason people may have had trouble sleeping in the last few days is all this planetary change. It brings up a lot of things for people. So anyway, and we'll just continue to watch how it plays out with Alec Baldwin and how things play out in the world,
Yes, exactly. And we're all such big parts of everything. I mean, these famous people do hold an example for the rest of the world, but each of us in our particular lives, we all have families, we all have friends, we all have acquaintances. So what we go through is a model and a template for everyone else around us, regardless of how famous or not well known we are. It's so important. So each experience, let's do our best, let's be present, let's do our best, I truly believe, Kellee, I don't believe anything happens if it's not fair.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't believe that everything is meant to happen or was meant to happen, because we all have free will. So we can do things out of our free will that weren't in the plans. But I don't believe that things happen without being fair or in a grander scheme of possibilities.
Yeah.
So what do you find that too? How do
I
you
do
feel
find
about
that. I do find that that I think before we incarnate, our soul comes in to learn certain lessons, and I think there will be certain destiny points of certain things that that are destined to happen. They are going to happen. And yes, we have free will, and we might, go here instead of going there. But ultimately, I think that when we're here to learn. So if we don't get the lesson the first time, then there'll be, and we use our free will without using judgment, we might get a second lesson and a third lesson and a fourth lesson until we wake up to that knowing, and you can look back at your life. Like this new moon is a great time. Look back at your life and look back. What did you do? What did you learn? Not for making yourself feel bad, but what did you learn here through all of your experiences? And then going forward, what do you want to learn going forward? Do you want really positive experiences? Put positivity out there.
Yes, absolutely. It's always, I think lately in these past few years, we've been living times like these, times that are inviting us to make a different choice over and over and over again, giving us chances to make a different choice, looking back at life, looking back, what do we really want to do here? How do I want to use my time? How do I want to use my resources? How do I want to use my life force, my freedom?
Absolutely. Right? Exactly. So, and here's a question that somebody asked me today, and I told her I would answer, or we would talk about this. She said, her name is Rachel Bai, and she said, my energy feels drained all the time. She said, do you have any advice? So what would you say about somebody whose energy is drained all the time?
Yeah, so that shouldn't be happening. Nobody's energy field should be drained all the time. So there are probably leaks in her chakras or in her energy field. It's probably not being there are some tears most likely that are not allowing her energy field to really stay charged. I mean, we all have leaks here and there. We all have issues or belief systems or whatever we're dealing with.
Or people maybe pulling energy from us or any of that.
Totally, absolutely. But we should not be drained all the time. And even if we get drained, let's say you worked 8 hours somewhere and you're drained, we should recharge overnight or at home. So if you're drained all the time, if anybody's drained all the time, one, really look where you're giving your energy away, your power away, where you might be just opening too much, and start doing some recharging like immediately. Being in nature, walking barefoot, being in the ocean if you're near the ocean, or looking at the sun and breathing in sunlight. So breathing in through your eyes, through your nose, through your heart. It's very important to charge, because if you have an energy field that's weak and depleted all the time, you're going to get a physical ailment at some point. It's not sustainable. So there are many steps, and then I would look for a healer or somebody that can see what's going on in the energy field, so they can restructure that, and then it can work properly. We're meant to recharge ourselves regardless of what we go through.
Is that what you do? Do you work with this then?
I do work with this. Yeah. Every morning I go to the beach every single morning. I live near the ocean. So I spent an hour and a half at the beach. Before I used to run or swim or bike. I can't do those things right now, but I go to the ocean for an hour and a half or 2 hours every morning. I wake up early. I put my foot in the sand. I try to go into the ocean. It's imperative. It's so important. And if you're somewhere that's really cold, like I said, just breathe in the sunlight, even through your window. Or just, there are many, many ways. Go outside for 5 minutes, feel the air, and then do the rest from inside. Or be with a plant inside. Touch the earth in the plants, the soil. It's so important for everybody. We have to recharge. We have to.
We talk about recharging our crystals. We recharge ourselves.
Exactly. Exactly. We're living crystals.
Well, and speaking of crystals,
crystals are living crystals too.
We are doing our third part of our series of Lemuria and Atlantis.
Yes.
And this is going to be on January 28th, and it's part 3, and it's about bringing everything, all of your gifts into the world now. And we're also going to be discussing what happened to Atlantis and what happened to Lemuria. Why did they, sink? What happened there? And we're going to be talking about that. So please join us for part 3. And if you haven't taken 1 or 2, we're going to catch everybody up for 1 or 2. You can also purchase them. They're available too, or you can just hop on to part 3, and you're going to do one of your incredible meditations, right?
There's going to be a meditation, and this time it's our last one. So it's kind of the culmination of this module. At least we'll see what happens in the future. But it's going to be about really embodying everything that we've learned with the first 2. And I really, Kellee, believe that because we've had some months since the second one, I believe it was actually needed. And, maybe even what you and I went through was needed because there was so much energy that we were bringing through. I think people were feeling that too. And this third one will culminating what we're bringing into the world with all that we're embodying from Lemuria and Atlantis. So it's going to be very powerful for our personal lives and for stepping into the world. It's the beginning of the year. It's going to be, I don't even know. I just know it's going to be wonderful. Like the other ones were.
Both of the other ones were fabulous. And the reason I thought of this with crystals is a lot of crystals come from Lemuria and Atlantis. So you may have one of those crystals and you may not be aware of it even. So please join us. Now here is Renee Hounsel. Hi, Renee. She says, I wear a leg brace and I had to learn to walk due to a spine injury that caused paralysis on my left leg. It brings complete expansion of body awareness, Prajna. You will encompass it on every level.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Renee. That's really, that's what I meant. I really believe that every experience in life brings healing, but physical illnesses and physical situations bring the deepest healings I've seen, including surgeries. When I work with people going through surgeries, I see them having meetings with their guides. I see healing happening that couldn't have happened in just a healing session because it's too deep. And because you're opening that area, the healing can get there. So that's a beautiful example that, expanded body awareness, because she's got to be so present.
I had a wild experience too. When on my 3rd surgery, I was really anxious, and I probably talked to you in between our surgeries here. And my doctor walked in. It was really early in the morning, 7 a.m, and he walked in and he had this giant green swatch right over him, this giant green swatch. And it was almost blinding. And I said, you have a green swatch. And he said, what does that mean? And I said, you're a healer. And he smiled. And later on, he told his person that he works with that I had said that. And this person said, oh, yes, you're a healer. I mean, it was interesting because I had never seen that color that bright. One time I did on one person, but this was unbelievable to me. And it gave me such, I don't know, more than confidence. It gave me a lot of hope. And then I knew I was safe. It was wild. It was a wild experience there.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that something? Here's a question from Vicky Nason. Hi, Vicky. Vicky lost her beloved husband. Vicky says, my heart and soul, unfortunately, are not in a good place. So I'm not feeling well emotionally, spiritually, etc. Stomach issues, more so now from depression. Any advice as to what I can do to heal my stomach? I have an ulcer and a hernia that I'm babying and try to get under control. Stress and the depression, of course, have not helped. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So stomachs and ulcer or anything going on there are directly related to the third chakra, the solar plexus chakra. And for your case, Vicky, I feel that, losing our husband, the third chakra has to do with how we are in the world. So when we have a partner, that partner is kind of how we are in the world. It's like a unit, right? And you probably had different things that he did and you did. So you basically had to, I would think that you had to really step up with a lot of things you weren't used to doing before. And so your third chakra really needs support. My sense is that you're probably going to be overextending yourself for a while longer with all of these, new things. But I would support your third chakra a lot. An easy way to do it, you can get a citrine, a crystal called a citrine. And I would get one like, half of a palm or something like that, a third of a palm, and place it on top of your solar plexus chakra. It's right at the end of the rib cage. And just place it there, morning, at night, 10 minutes, because that vibration will start helping your chakra be more at ease. I think it needs nurturance and it needs calmness, and it'll start helping your stomach. And the hernia, you might need to do something for that, but you'll keep it from getting worse and you help with the symptoms too.
Oh, that's really good advice. Maybe yourself, really, Vicky. I know your husband's always around you. I know that for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Hi, Angela Sophia Gerbic. It's her birthday today. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. It's quite a year. This will be quite a year going forward if your birthday is today. It is quite a year. Oh my gosh. So here's a question. Regina Joyce Clark says, our bones regenerate completely every 10 years. So why would my knee bones still show the same injury after 25 years?
Wow, that's a really incredible question. So from what I know, it's actually every 7 years, the whole body, every 7 years, we have a chance to have a whole new body.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, different tissues. Some tissues like skin tissues is a couple of weeks, and other tissues like bone are years. But every 7 years, if you change your eating habits, behavior habits, and everything, within 7 years, you're a different person. That's everybody.
Wow. And 7 is such a significant number, and it's a 7-year.
Significant number. Now, that's a very interesting question, and that goes back to energy. So there's something there. So our physical body. So I'll tell you this: before we're born, before I came with this physical body, my energy field already had this appearance. So my physical cells basically just fell into that template and formed themselves based on the shape and configuration of my energy field. So our energy field either heals us or holds us back or holds us in the same place. So if we have something that's not healing or changing, there's something there that's not healed or changed energetically, and it needs to shift. And once it shifts, then the physical body follows. It's really, truly as simple as that.
So are you suggesting then making a shift spiritually, is a shift in your mind, that type of shift, and then the body shifts?
Yes, spiritually and the shift in the mind, but specifically in her case, I think you said it's the knee, right? Mm-hmm. A shift on the energy field in the knee area. So her energy field is probably still shaped up like, whatever she's still having. So that needs to change. And of course, it involves the emotions, involves the minds, involves belief systems, involves traumas, involves everything. I mean, healing has many different levels, but literally that area has to shift for the physical body to shift. So it's not just the mind. But a very trained, surrendered, focused mind can change that. But I mean, that's a very highly skilled and spiritual person. I've never met anybody, I've never worked with anybody like that. I've never been that. It's so we all kind of need help. But that's how all physical manifestations are changed, by changing the energy fields.
So here's one from Alice in Stanford. She says, I've been repeating the same type of relationships and end up going back into them. How do I heal this pattern? Oh, Allison, that's a good one. Let me start.
Please.
Let me just start.
Yes.
First, Allison, you have to be really cognizant of what you're doing. You have to be so aware. At least you ask the question.
Yeah.
You actually ask the question. Great question. That means that you are aware of what you're doing. And so it takes a really strong person to make a change. You have to be very adamant and know thyself so well that is, you're not going to choose that. You can't. And you have to be really honest with when you meet somebody and you're about ready to go into a relationship, you can feel, is there a red flag? You look for all the red flags. And then you have to be really honest. Am I needy? Am I, what am I needing right now? And you have to really ask yourself that, because if you're asking the question, then it's a karmic lesson here. And I would pay a lot of attention to it. It takes energy, and you have to have the energy to do it, and you have to do it. Go you. You can do it, Allison. Don't do it again. Like, don't get fooled again.
Yes, totally. And I would add, Allison, if you're aware of the reason why you're repeating this pattern, if it has to do with your mother, with your father, it mostly comes from there. Or, speak in your mind to your mother or your father. Okay, I'm not going to do this again because I choose myself. I'm not going to buy into this unhealthy pattern because I choose myself, or something along those lines. Like, really be proactive in changing what you're wanting to change, and making the choice with what you're wanting to change. And of course, there is the energetic component. We attract what we know. So we are drawn to the energies that we're familiar with. So you're familiar with the same pattern. So you can, there can be 10 healthy people here. If there's one with the same pattern, like way in the 20th row, you're going to be attracted to that person because you're drawn to that. That, weird enough, feels safe at first, right?
Yeah. You feel safe with what you know. So what you started to say, and it's so true, is maybe find a therapist to work through, the relationship you had with your mother, your father. I picked certain people in my life, as you have, based on family members, frankly.
We all do it.
Project onto the other person.
We all do it. The thing is, some of us had healthier parent figures. Some of us had, different parent figures. We all look for it. And then depending on the degree of that in our history, we change it or not. So it's a very conscious work, but how amazing that you know it. So your foot is out the door. It's that, right?
I like that you used the foot.
I know, the foot.
Today's topic, foot.
Damn it.
It just cracks me up. Carlene Reese says, are there certain crystals that can help us recharge? Yes, quartz crystals, absolutely. From my perspective, what do you say about that?
I would say that the basics, like I have in front of me a clear quartz crystal, like here, recharging. I like a Chinese fluorite. I always have this for some reason when I'm, when I'm working. There you go.
No, I've got tons of crystals around here. One of my favorite quartz. Yeah, I forgot this one. I love this one.
Quartz,
I forgot about it.
Exactly. They recharge, and the clear quartzes, they can all tune themselves to who we are, but the clear quartz is really specific for that. They tune themselves to what we need.
Right.
So I would say that for sure. And then, there are grounding crystals. They're all crystals for everything. But I would say a good clear quartz it's an
It's
amazing
a good one,
beginning.
place to start. So
Yeah.
Charlene Millers has a great question. She says, yes, being an empath myself, I was feeling the weight of the world on myself. I am learning from you, Kellee and James, to not absorb everything in my body. I'm still learning and always open to more learning. So let's talk about being an empath, because as an empath, you're very sensitive to emotions, to somebody else's feelings, to what you walk in a room and you can feel the energy, and it can drain you, actually. And what I have spent my life doing, honest to God, is helping empaths, hate to say it this way, but kind of like, I'm going to be very kind when I say this, but I mean this, get tougher. There's something about the energy that you, I mean, I can still feel everything. And I've had to really toughen up myself so I don't pick up everybody's stuff. It's a tough world. This earth is not an easy place to be, especially as an empath. But bravo for being an empath. I think the empaths are my kind of people.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I actually believe that empaths are the way we all are, except that most people on this planet, I don't know if I should say most people at this point or not, have lost that ability because they've gotten so thickened out. And now we have to call the natural way of being an empath. It's just,
you're so true. That's so true.
right? Yeah, that's just how we are. But we are in a place of density, so we gotta protect ourselves. That's why, energy work is so important in one way or another. Getting to know your chakras, getting to know yourself, getting to know how to charge your energy field. We should do a show on that, Kellee, like basic stuff, charging the chakras, the energy field.
It's a great idea.
Each one of
I'm
them.
gonna write that down.
Because it's very important. If you're feeling all of that, it means you're closer to your truer self. But you are weakened. We gotta be stronger. We cannot be walking around being drained. But then choose where you go to. Like certain places I don't go. I'm in Rio. I cannot tell you the chaos that it's in some parts of Rio.
Oh my gosh, you guys!
I think you can all imagine it.
Yeah.
I don't go there. So we gotta be picky, because as much as I can protect my energy field, I'm gonna leave there with stuff stuck to me, and I don't want that. So let's really choose what we do. And when you go walk into a gathering, imagine like a Teflon. Like one of my teachers used to say that. She's like, imagine that your energy field is made of Teflon.
Oh, Teflon.
Yeah, like the pans, the pots and pans, the non-stick.
Great one. Yes.
Just imagine that, and then walk into the area. Just pay attention to that a little bit, and then it becomes natural after a while. I did that for years. I did that.
I think me too. I've done that too. I think it's a great one. So here's Debbie Jones Griffin. She says, I need healing for my liver, cancer, and pain. So let's talk about that. What type of healing do you do for that?
It's hard to say in general, because each person is so particular. So what would be that is in the configuration of her energy field for that liver, for that cancer? So, I mean, with cancer in general, to me, the way I've always seen cancer, felt cancer, is very rapid. It multiplies. It's very rapid moving. That's how I see it. So how I usually work with it, I try to encapsulate it and cut off all energy sources so it dies. That's what I just work like that. I came up with that for myself. I've never learned that anywhere, but that's how I learned, and it seems to work. So that's probably what I would do with the cancer cells if they're still active. And then there are different ways to support the liver, but it would depend on what's affecting the liver. It's just so different and so particular to each person.
Right. No, totally. Let me answer this question real quick. It's from Trey. Hi, Trey. He said, Kellee, quick question. Can I set out water for the moon water that I've already set out from a prior month and just set new intentions, or will it carry some of the intentions from the prior month? Okay, here's what I would do, Trey. I would put that water out on a plant or something amazing, and then I would set with a new energy, because this is a new year and there's so much energetic thing, so many things that are going on energetically. I would set new water. But good question. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Charlene Miller says today is Janis Joplin's birthday. She would have been 80 Any feelings or thoughts? It's so funny that you said that, Charlene. I didn't know that, but I was in, I'm from LA, and I was in Hollywood right where she had passed away, and I wasn't aware of it. I just thought it was an odd energy, and I couldn't figure it out.
Huh?
And she would have been 80. God, it's hard to imagine. I mean, and David Crosby, 81 today, passed away. It's weird to see all of the people that I grew up with passing away.
Yes,
It is something else. Okay. Oh, I know. I had a question that somebody wrote to me, and this was from Jen Chris. She said, "Can you tell me about a rhino totem?" She said, "I also had a white owl that I had seen while I was having a healing." So we can talk about all of that real quickly. But the rhino totem that means if you're thinking about rhinos, or you've had a dream about a rhino, or a picture just shows up with a rhino, rhinos are actually loners. And they tend to like their own company. They're happier with their own company. And they often take on a lifelong quest, if you will, to find their soul's purpose and what they're here to do in the world. And a white owl is the female psychic. So it sounds to me that you're working through to ultimately work psychically on some level, spiritually. That would be a path there.
That's amazing. So many signs.
Signs.
The lone work at the moment to work towards the wisdom of possibly being a psychic. That's wonderful.
So Beth Bellastria, she says, I have serious vagus muscle spasms. It falls in line with 3 chakras. It's exceptionally difficult to calm the vagus. Yes, I'm on meds too, but I'm sure they may do something else. Ideas. So do you want to explain what that is even?
Well, that to me, when I'm tuning into, when I'm reading that, feels a little bit more complex. Like the person before was like, okay, solar plexus, 3rd chakra, that's your heart and your stomach. This one feels more complex. I know there are 3 chakras involved, but to me, it actually looks like your whole entire energy system needs alignment.
Well, isn't the vagus muscle that connected to trauma?
It's connected to trauma. Yeah, it is connected. It's one of the roots lines.
There you go.
So maybe that's why I'm picking up on the whole energy field. And it actually feels like this distortion goes on to the layer that's underneath the energy system. There's another dimension called the Hara line, which is where our intentions are, our purpose for being on the planet, our manifestations, our identity, who we are. So I feel that there's a little bit of a distortion there too. So a really full alignment, I think, would be very good. And then maintaining that for a little while, it feels like there's something really wants to realign, like a soul level purpose,
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for answering that. So this is from Marilyn Morley. She said, I had a knee replacement surgery last October, and I had to have a revision in May. I also have issues with pinched nerves in my back. I have difficulty finding comfort, sitting, standing. It's so strange experiencing electrical buzzing up and down my leg. It's a constant pain and exhausting.
Yeah, that must be really challenging. I mean, constant pain with shocks and electricity and burning. Again, that feels to me more on the complex level of like something as a whole is not working. It feels like it has to do with safety, with grounding, with alignment. A lot of the times, I don't know if it's the case with this, whenever we put a replacement in the body, we take a body part out and we put a replacement, it's very important to take the life force of the body part that's being taken out and bringing this energy back into the body, because that's part of our life force. And in regular surgeries, unless you're doing a healing, that's not happening. So that's why there's a lot of difficulty in healing, and a lot of people have pain afterwards. So there could be a process there in rescuing a little bit of that life force, and then inviting that need to become a part of the body. Because the knee, the back, it all feels to me like it has a bit to do with being here, the grounding, the presence in the earth.
Well, let me ask you this. Judy Friedman. Hi, Judy. She says hi to both of us. I love Judy. She says, and it was in context to knees, and she said, unresolved grief and continued anger. Is that what do the knees represent?
I don't find that particularly like in generalized, but that could be that for that specific person, you know. So I know that there's a lot of, you know, certain organs mean this and that, and I agree with it. But again, each person is so different. There's so many levels, so many dimensions. There's so many things. I'm always a bit reluctant in just say, this is it. I mean, I found that in my own going through, you know, people are like, oh, your foot, oh, you're not putting your foot forward in what, blah, blah, blah. Sure. But wait a minute, what's particular to Prajna? What was particular to me? And that's how I look at with everybody. So I would like to feel like that person. That's why I was saying, to me, it felt like grounding, safety, alignment. It didn't feel like that. Those were the things that I felt.
Yeah. So Julie Munsterman says, what is a good way to find an energy healer who's local? And having said that, even though you're in Rio, you see people from all over the world, and tell everybody how they can reach you.
Yeah, sure. So you can go to my website, prajnaavalon.com. I've been doing remote healings only for 15 years. It actually happened because I was in the Boston area, and we had a lot of blizzards, and my clients didn't want to stop having healings. So we were like, well, let's try long distance. And it was so much better and so much deeper that even though they lived like 15 minutes away, they didn't come to the office anymore. We just did phone sessions. So I changed, and I prefer, my own healer is in the US and I'm in Brazil. And I prefer long distance healing because I feel like you just disconnect. If you want to find a local healer, the school that I graduated from is the Barbara Brennan School of Healing. You can go to barbarabrennan.com, and they have a list there of the active healers in each area. Or if you're willing to try a long distance session, which, you know, might surprise most people actually find it deeper, you can contact me or anybody that you feel connected with.
Yeah. Prajna is excellent, everybody. So if you get a chance, if you're lucky enough to work with her, she's amazing. So Amy Augustine has a good question. She says, I have issues with my left side of my body. Isn't that what we were just talking about before we went on air? Cataracts worse in my left eye, surgery upcoming, an intestine issue on my left side, Crohn's. Is it just a coincidence that my issues are on the left side?
For sure not. Like, that's not a generalization that I'm taking lightly. No, nothing is a coincidence. Nothing is a coincidence. And the left side can do with many things. Like Kelly and I were talking earlier, it can have to do with the mother. It's the mother side. But maybe you had a perfect mother, and it can do with receptivity. It's also the side that receives more. So maybe, you know, you can be somebody that does and gives. You're a doer, you're a go-getter, and you have a little bit of a harder time receiving, or you believe you're not worthy of receiving or of being loved, or there's so many things on the left side in that way. But it usually has to do with the more feminine, receptive, mellow side, or the feminine side, or the mother side. So then there are many options there, you know, then you go more specifically into each of the body parts. So you're mentioning your eyes, so you would find one of those things in working with you, and then why is it in the upper part? The eyes can have to do with intuition, you know, vision,
yes,
future, right? Like clarity.
Absolutely.
So then you start putting the puzzle together, and then the healing happens. So I would start with that. It's always like layers and layers and layers, which is amazing. I love that. So
true. And Margaret says, Prajna, how can we protect our energy when we're meeting with a client or a patient with depression? I don't mean to laugh, and is cranky. I have 1-2 times a week, and it is so draining.
That's very draining, very draining. Here's what I would do. My question back to you is, are you confronting these clients on why are they there if they're so cranky and putting this crankiness out on you? sometimes I will question clients if they're in the same pattern, the same mode, and they're still coming. I'm like, okay, why are you here? I don't say it like that, but that's the question in my mind in trying to help them. Like, do you want to be here? Are you receptive? Do you want to heal? Are you open to receiving this? Because why are you confronting me? Why are you attacking me? Are you trying to keep me at a distance, or are you trying to get help? And if, then you can work from there. So there's something, there's like a golden nugget there in this client. I mean, they're definitely coming to your office or your phone or whatever, but they're defensive.
So true.
That's where I would work first.
Right.
And then in terms of protecting the energy field, all of us that work with clients, we should be protecting ourselves before we start working full on. Then it will be for depression, you'll be for mania, you'll be for anything. We gotta align ourselves. We gotta protect ourselves. We can never just go in. We gotta be strong, and then it won't drain us. It can be annoying. Sometimes it can be annoying, but then you gotta go into compassion in the heart and try to see what's behind that behavior to see how we can truly help them.
Right. That's a good answer there. Instead of shut up.
I can't do that anymore.
I can't handle that anymore. I can't hear another negative thought from you. I don't mean to laugh at that, but it is pretty funny.
It's challenging. Oh my God. When I'm cranky, I'm upset at myself. I can't stand myself. So
okay, here's let's see. Karen Bennett says, so interesting tonight. I suffer from feet pain. Boy, there are a lot of feet problems. Oh my God.
My kind of people.
Your kind of people. Referred to an orthopedic specialist in February. I'm in excellent health otherwise with my mind, body, and spirit. Probably the best I've ever been, but the pain inhibits walking and hiking. Any thoughts on feet with healing?
Oh, Karen. So I'm on that path, right? Like I'm the best spiritually, physically, everything that I've been. I always keep myself that way, and here I am. So I think the best for feet and healing is really looking inside. Like for me is surrendering, accepting, staying in place. There's a lot of this going on for me, like staying where I am and not just traveling everywhere and all that. So it's really like looking what's inside and surrendering to the foot. Surrender to the foot. It truly is, because it's a teacher and it's trying to show something. I mean, for me, I'm doing physical therapy, laser. I'm salt water with sea salt and all of that, but the deeper work is inside, like what's really truly in here, and that will heal the physical.
To me, and the feet represent moving forward in life. Are you stuck? Where are you stuck?
Well, it can, but I wouldn't generalize that either. I would be a little careful. Like for me personally, I had to stay stuck. For me, I moved
for sure.
forward
You
too much.
had to. Oh, I remember saying that to you over and over. It's trying to tell you something. Stop.
Right. So we gotta really look at what's the pattern in our life. What does that have to do with the feet? Also have to do with grounding. For me, that wasn't an issue. I'm a very grounded person. Some people are not grounded. They're not present on this earth. People that kind of like have empty eyes, or all they do is meditate and this and that. No, we gotta be here.
You have to be in the body. You have to be in the body and grounded.
So are you grounded? Mm-hmm. Are you safe where you are? Are you feeling safe within yourself, with your work, with your family, with your friends, with your partner? All of that, that's one level of questions. Are you staying stuck where maybe you were meant to be moving forward? Or are you moving forward too much and you actually need to be present where you are? So that's what I mean. You gotta go within, look at what the foot represents, the feet, but then go within and find what's meant for you with this, and the physical will heal.
A great answer. Here's a good question. This is from Diane Rinaldi. I've had both knees, both hips, and 4 back surgeries. Oh my God, she's like the $6 million woman. Is that affecting my chakras? So that's a good question. When you've had knee surgeries, back surgeries, hip surgeries, replacements, just how does that affect your chakras?
it affects it directly. I mean, whenever we have a surgery, that area of the body, the lines of lights that cover everything, they get shattered
They
most of the time.
do.
Unless it's a very, like, maybe your surgeon that was a healer, maybe as he was cutting, he was healing and leaving them intact. Not
Mm.
every surgery does that, but most of the ones that I've seen and experienced do that. So it's, I'm telling you, healing work is like the future. Everybody, all of us should be doing healing work very consistently for everything, because it will keep us healthy in the long run. Um, when I work with surgeries, I that's what I do. The surgeon is cutting and I'm restructuring the lines of light so then the people have no pain afterwards. So with all of those surgeries, there's probably a lot of restructuring that could happen. I mean, when you get a tattoo, your energy field gets messed up. I
I
mean,
bet it does.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
anything affects
Yeah.
it. So we gotta take care of it the way we take care of everything else, because it's truly our foundation for life. It's our foundation for everything.
Yeah. So here's Kathy Cage. She says, how do we recover from grief and include it in as our life path? You know, Kathy, recovering from grief takes time. It
Yes.
takes compassion for what you went through. It takes love for yourself and love for what you went through. Again, compassion. Um, it's a deep process, and you can recover from grief.
Mhm.
It depends on so many things here, because I have widows that will never recover. They've been
Mhm.
shattered and they will not recover. Not because they don't wouldn't want to, but they literally, it's a part was such, their relationship was such a part of them that it's really hard for them to move forward. So, and it depends on how long ago it was, Kathy, and all of that. But how do we recover from grief? It takes a, every day. It's every day. I
Mhm.
don't know if I think, Kathy, if I'm not mistaken, you had lost daughters, and that I don't know if that's recoverable, actually. But you can, start to have a life again. It's just
Yeah,
different. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with all of that.
I mean, when you have somebody that you work with who's suffered a loss of a spouse or a child or something so deep, how do you
Yeah.
work as a healer with the heart?
Sure. It's actually all of the chakras, because when we're in a deep relationship with somebody, we have cords that connect our heart chakra to that person's heart chakra, our throat chakra to that person's throat chakra. All our chakras are connected. That's another reason why it's so important to be very choosy with who we bring into our lives, because we create cords and then we carry these cords forever, even if that person is gone most of the time. Um, so with grief, um, especially when the person is kind of taken abruptly, or there wasn't an acceptance, these cords, uh, Kelly, they usually stay floating in the air, all ripped up.
Oh, that
And
explains a lot. Thank you
that's
for
the thing.
saying that.
Yeah. So there are many ways, then each person is different. Sometimes you actually reconnect those cords with the souls of the beings that parted. Sometimes you kind of bring
Mm.
those cords back in, but you gotta help that, because that's the raw pain. That's why the pain never goes away, because it's looking for it and it's nowhere. So you gotta really heal the cords. You
Oh,
have to heal the cords.
and would that healing the cords be working with you?
I can definitely do that. I'm sure there are other people that do that too, but I can definitely help with healing the cords.
Oh,
It's something we can't really do. I don't know how one would do by themselves,
yeah.
because you're in such pain that you can't really intend for that to come in, you know? That's why we all, I feel like we all need support. We all need each other. So, but that is helpful. It will never take the full pain away, because the missing, the emptiness, it still will be there, especially if it's your child or your, yeah, or whoever. You can't quantify, right? Grief, but it definitely helps with that rawness of the pain, helps the person connect back with their own life purpose. A lot of the times
Mm,
the pain is so much that they
yeah.
disconnect with from who they are, and they're going through life like zombies. So there's a lot of healing that can be done.
Thank you for saying that. I really took everything you went in with what you just said. It's so important for the work I do because I work with so much loss here.
You work
and
with
it really, totally. And it's so
medium,
really helpful to hear about them like kind of just out there like this. That's so important for me. Thank you for giving me that visual.
And sometimes from the person on the other side too, because not everybody that dies is really happy, or at peace.
Some are pissed off.
Some are pissed off, some are hurting, some are lost, some are, they don't know what happened. So this work, it's done very little. I cannot remember the last time I had a client like this. So it's not very well known yet, but it's so
I'll make it more well known because I did not know that either. Thank you. And unfortunately, we're going to have to finish up our show. So let's first of all
happen.
Oh my God, I don't know, but if you want to join more of this, join Prajna and me on January 28th. And we're going to have part 3 of Lemuria and Atlantis. It's very exciting. It's really fun. We lecture, we talk, we answer questions, and then Prajna does this amazing. Energy's amazing. We bring our favorite crystals with us, and the crystals love it, and it's just really a great. I think it's about 3 hours. And it's just
3 hours.
It goes fast, and it's fun, and it's interesting, and it's lively, and you'll learn so much. So
and if you haven't done part 1 and 2, it's okay because you'll get the recordings from all of that. So you'll get the energy afterwards. If you feel called, just do it. If you're called, do it.
And then and if you're interested, if you need to know any about surviving the narcissist, please join Dr. Shirley and Pellizzari and me on February 25th.
2 experts.
We are 2 experts on narcissism. So we will be delving into it. It'll be really great. It's going to be a dialogue between Shirley and me, and we're going to be talking and answering your questions and giving real life examples. I mean, what better than 2 therapists going, well, here you go. Top this. Oh no, I'll top this. And I'm sure people that take the class can really top them. And sometimes we have stories that we just cannot imagine. And then join James and me on Monday because we have an amazing guest. It's Adventures at Sea, everybody. So please join us on Monday. We have a great guest. It's going to talk all about cruising. It's going to be so fun. So please join us. And thank you so much, Prajna. Much love to you. Thanks to everybody. And we'll see you Monday. Take care.
You've been listening to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.